Welcome to Buckets, my fellow hoop heads, your daily NBA betting podcast presented by DraftKings. The crown is yours. We've got your best bets for the Wednesday slate in the association. 10 games to sort through. We'll see how much of those land on today's episode. I'm your host, Brandon Kravitz, along with Sean Little at Chicago Flow, professional ball knower as he is, Joe Dellera, the prop king. At Joe Dellera is how you can find him on social and beyond. A quick 60 seconds from all of us to recap the night that we just finished watching. There's a late tip that is in action as we speak right now between the Clips and the Warriors. Need those Clippers to cover that 1.5. The Wizards outdid themselves tonight, fellas. Those fucks led by as much as 19 and lost in overtime by 5. Thankfully, I was sitting on the 5 and not, it closed at 4.5. So closing line value, yay. As the Wizards send Tyrese Maxey to the line at the end of the game, and he actually bricked a free throw. It looked like the Wizards were going to lose by 4 in overtime, made a 3, still played the foul game, and wound up losing by exactly 5 points, despite having a 19-point lead. This is why you will, if you get in bed with betting the NBA day after day, you're going to bet on some shitty teams, but be careful with these Washington Wizards. Joe, what's a big takeaway for you tonight?
I mean, the big takeaway is that Kyle Murray was 1 PRA away from beating Giannis with the Maxey pick that he had last night. So that free throw was tough. But I think tonight, we still are seeing some of the early season woes. We're still seeing a number of guys sit out on these back-to-backs. Like Norman Powell sat today, Chet Holmgren sat today. So definitely something to keep in mind. Obviously the injury reporting is hopefully just going to keep continuing to improve because it can't get too much worse. But I do think, I do think that there are some opportunities where us as bettors, we know what the trends are. We know which players play in back-to-backs, which players don't. There's definitely a way to read between the lines here and make that actionable. So I'd say that. And then the other takeaway is that the Philadelphia 76ers, like whether Joel Embiid plays or doesn't play, they got some dogs. They are a fun team to watch this year.
Yeah, they really are. Sean, what about you? Any big takeaways from tonight?
Yeah, the Oklahoma City Thunder are vulnerable until they get the full lot back in the fold. Of course, J-Dub, Jalen Williams, Isaiah Joe, Kenrich Williams. They're 1-4 ATS to start the year. They've been an absolute printing press the last 3 years. Just a reminder, go back to 2022, 57%. 2023, 57%. Last year, you close your eyes and bet the Thunder every night, 63%. It's very clear, especially in the NBA, that the market and people don't believe until it happens. Now that it's happened for the Thunder, I think we're going to see outrageous numbers no matter who's on the floor, if J-Dub or not is on the floor, if Chet is out or not. They're just going to continue to lay big numbers, and they're not going to cover as much as they have been the last couple of seasons. So, yeah, be careful when betting the Thunder. If you watch that Kings game tonight, they fucked around quite a bit and probably could have lost the game. And if you look at all their games this year, they've looked very vulnerable in a lot of spots. I wouldn't look to bet the Thunder until the full lot of guys is back, and if the number doesn't seem too inflated because of what they did to people last year.
How long do you think it will take for the market, the power ratings to catch up to what we're seeing with OKC still winning, but not being the juggernaut that they were a year ago?
Yeah, it's a good question. I'm not sure if it'll catch up when people stop betting them. People are going to be betting Oklahoma City every night because that's just what they think is the right thing to do now. Like 2 years ago, like when we were begging people to bet the Celtics to win the East, it would be a runaway. Please bet the Celtics. Last year, every time I got a microphone, I said, please bet the Oklahoma City Thunder to win the title. It is free money. They're going to win the West and they'll win the title. And people, I guess, Brandon, it took 3 years for people to catch up on betting the Thunder being the right side, that they're not being valued enough? Is it going to take? It'll take probably a while before people start disrespecting the Thunder once again.
I think maybe primetime spots too, if you're looking for an opportunity to fade them, because those are going to be the more heavily bet games. And that means that more public money is going to have influence, and that will thus create value on the other side. I remember vividly last season, Sean Little coming on to a Best Bets episode. I mean, it was like a random Tuesday night in the middle of the season. Hey, what's your best bet for the Tuesday slate? And it was, I got nothing. Just bet the Thunder to win the championship.
Yes, that's it. That's it.
Can I piggyback on this Thunder conversation a little bit? One of the things I think that we had known with Oklahoma City last year, especially, and Sean, you probably can talk about this too, but like there was a dramatic level of consistency with not only the team, but also with their rotations. And it was like, you knew it didn't matter what was going on. They were going to run the exact same rotation every single game. And that is not what's happening this year. We've actually seen it because I saw a bunch of people out on X, like they were posting about Shea. His first quarter line was a little bit low. His first quarter line, I think there was like some 6.5, 7.5, even like 8, like whatever, 8+ or so. And he wound up playing like basically 5 first quarter minutes today. Oklahoma City ran this rotation earlier in the season too. There was another game that they ran a funky first quarter rotation for Shea, where instead of playing the entire first quarter as he was like pretty much every game last year, play the full first quarter, sit for like about 5 minutes in the second quarter, come back in, play the rest of the second quarter, play the entire third quarter, sit about 4 or 5 minutes, come back in for the fourth quarter. They've been doing some different things, experimenting with different lineups. And this is now the second time we've seen Oklahoma City run Shea for about 5 minutes in the first quarter, and then basically the entire second quarter. So they're doing different things, and you can't trust that consistency. And I think that speaks to more of what you were kind of getting at, Sean, with this team. Like, you can't depend on them in the same way that you did last season. And I think a lot of it is because, look, they put their stamp on there. They're certified now. They got a ring. They're going to try different things. They're going to use different lineups and figure out which of these deeper bench players is actually deserving of getting that extended run when J-Dub comes back, when Chet's fully healthy, like when you get Caruso playing all the minutes that they want him to. That's, I think, what they're trying to figure out. Like, who's getting the minutes? Is it going to be the other Jalen Williams? Is it going to be Aaron Wiggins? Is it going to be AJ Mitchell? Like, who is it going to be? And I think that that's something that people are like overrating, like that level of consistency that we came to really appreciate with Oklahoma City. They have a different plan this year, and they're the ones being hunted. They're trying to look, and they're really probably not super concerned with the regular season. They're much more concerned with how they can advance in the postseason, what maybe tweaks they need to make on little things that were getting exploited as the postseason went on last year. So I think that's the thing to kind of keep an eye on for Oklahoma City as well.
And this is why it's important to diversify your knowledge of the sport that you are watching and following, because Mark Daigneault, who's the head coach of Oklahoma City, would look at his team and say, the fuck are you guys talking about? My team's 5-0. We're undefeated. Yeah. And I think the casual fan would look and say, this is the same old OKC. Folks, it is not. And that's what we're trying to detail to you in terms of their inability to win by margin in the same way that they were able to a year ago. We've got our plays ready to deliver them, 3-star, 2-star, 1-star. Before we get to those, let's kick it to the mayor of Buckets, who somehow got a day off today. Matt Moore with a word about DraftKings.
The Buckets podcast is sponsored by DraftKings Sportsbook, and in partnership with DraftKings, Buckets listeners get a great offer. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $300 back in bonus bets if your bet wins, and 3 months of NBA League Pass. Stay in on the action and use your bonus bets on DraftKings same-game parlays for a shot at an even bigger payout. To get started, use promo code BucketsNBA when signing up with DraftKings. Again, use code BucketsNBA when signing up and bet $5 to get $300 back in bonus bets if your bet wins. Plus 3 months of NBA League Pass. The crown is yours.
I really hope Matt Moore is out there somewhere, not following Buckets Live right now, taking a nap,
Taking a nap.
Reading
It's like 11:30.
reading a book, whatever he's got to do. All right, let's get to our plays. 3-star, 2-star, 1-star. Sean, we'll start with you. What you got? 3-star.
3-star Minnesota Timberwolves -6.5, -105 at DraftKings as we record this at 10:30 on Tuesday night. Get the best number you can. Listen, the Lakers aren't good, and this is a bad matchup even without Ant-Man on the floor. First of all, when you're going through the board and you see Ant-Man's not playing and there's still sevens flashing, I think that tells you quite a bit. I really like this spot. I actually snagged a 5.5, would play it up to 6.5 where it is right now, -105. Maybe you get a soft, maybe you get not a soft 6, but a regular 6, depending on what shakes here the next 24 hours. But yeah, give me the Timberwolves. I'll lay 6.5. The Lakers are asking way too much of Austin Reeves, a.k.a. Hillbilly Kobe. Don't forget that. It's the best nickname in the NBA, by the way. Hillbilly Kobe's not being used enough. We need to start calling Austin Reeves Hillbilly Kobe. I digress. But he's going to see a ton of Jaden McDaniels, a ton of Dante DiVincenzo on ball. And then when those guys are on ball and getting beat, he's going to be getting funneled to, of course, Rudy Gobert. Austin Reeves is getting 40% of his points from the paint this year, 36 free throw attempts the last 2 games. Now, if Austin Reeves has somewhat of a, what do we call it, fellas, a regular game, if he goes 27, 7-7, I don't know where the rest of the offense is going to come from for these guys. I hate Ayton's matchup with Gobert. If you go back and look at the first matchup, because these guys have already played, Lakers got a big W, but Luka went ballistic. 5 of his 7 attempts for Ayton were either layups or dunks, and they were all set up. A vast majority of them were set up by Luka, making things extremely easy. Give me Randall, Dante, Gobert, Jaden Daniels, Nas off the bench against a team that turns it over a ton. Reeves had 8 turnovers the other night because he's just forced to handle the ball at all times without Luka on the floor. And the Lakers won't be able to keep up with these guys offensively, just like they couldn't keep up with the Portland Trailblazers. I really like this spot for Minnesota. I'll lay the 6.5.
This does feel like a supercharged summer league roster, but Austin Reeves, 51-41 in his last 2. Joe, are we making a mistake? I get a chance to look ahead at what these picks are going to be, and nobody has an Austin Reeves prop out there. Are we screwing up with this?
I mean, I think it's tough. I think the matchup, kind of like Sean was talking about, is not like the easiest matchup for Reeves. Granted, I mean, he put up monster numbers on a Trailblazers defense that's been pretty legit as well. I think at the end of the day, though, it comes down to the fact that Minnesota, I think, has a little bit more potential, like maybe blowout potential here. The Lakers are doing a ton of traveling right now, a ton of tough games. So I think this type of usage does add up. And, some of these guys in Minnesota are going to be pretty excited to, maybe get some extra run without Anthony Edwards in there too.
Joe, what is your 3-star play of the night?
So I'm going to be grabbing Donovan Mitchell over 27.5 points. I would play this, I would play 30 plus 2, honestly. He has just absolutely torched the Cleveland Cavaliers. This is like system play borderline. And last year he scored 35, 35, 31, and 41 against the Boston Celtics. And so far to start this season, he's got 30 plus in 3 of 4 games. So the biggest concern is that Boston's playing at a slow pace still, but it really hasn't stopped them from getting absolutely fried by the top point guards and the top guards in general. Brunson, 31. VJ Edgecombe, rookie, 34. And in that same game, Maxey, 40. Cade, 25. So they've all put together really strong scoring performances against Boston to start the season. And I think that this Cavaliers team continues to be really undermanned. And they're not even going to have Sam Merrill in this game, who has been really good for them from beyond the arc. So while they could, kind of put a little bit more defensive attention on Donovan Mitchell, at the end of the day, Derek White can only do so much, I think, in this spot, and he's being tasked with so much offensive usage. It's going to be a little bit tougher for him to expend all of that on the defensive end too, covering Donovan Mitchell. So Love over 27.5 points. I think that he is going to dominate in this game.
I am going to piggyback off of that. My 3-star play is laying it with the Cleveland Cavaliers -3.5. I just cannot help but look at this Celtics roster and gag. The Cavs, even without Garland, even without Strus, even without Sam Merrill, still have waves of talent that this Celtics team just does not have. Defensively, not buying some of the advanced metrics. Number one in opponent effective field goal percentage. That's on the Boston side. I know they just beat the Pelicans by 32, but I think this has statement game in prime time written all over it. This is a great Cavs team in a big game in an energetic arena. This is the kind of game that teams like Cleveland get up for. And unless Boston's going to make 23s, I just don't see them scoring with these guys. So I'm with you, but we're going to need Donovan Mitchell to have a big game. So I feel like these two plays heavily correlated. Any pushback on this, Sean?
No, they looked amazing against Detroit the other night. I really liked they were just going through the motions and doing, I guess, essentially getting no resistance and playing their style of ball, impose their will on Detroit. And Detroit folded, essentially. They looked really good. I really liked what they did the other night. I know it's a bit of a slow start for Orlando. I know you know that, B, and Detroit, but the way that they did whatever they wanted on the road as well. I really like Cleveland, and of course, if Donovan's going to score 30, has a good chance to score 30, they should be able to cover this number.
Let's kick it back over to you for the 2-star play of the night. What you got?
Yeah, let's go the Atlanta Hawks. Team total over 122.5 against the lonely, winless Brooklyn Nets. Now, I'm in Chicago. I watched that Hawks Bulls front to back, and even though Atlanta lost, I think it ends up going down as a bad loss for them. They were in control a vast majority of that game and folded later in it. I think they're going to bounce back. What the doctor ordered is the Brooklyn Nets. I think they put up a big number here. The Nets give up points in absolute bundles. They've given up 130 plus in 3 of their 4 losses. They gave up 136 to the Hornets, 131 to the Cavs, and 137 to the Rockets. Both teams don't rebound. I just see Atlanta putting up 125 here off of a bad loss. Trae Young, if you could name someone on that roster that's going to be able to slow down Trae Young or is interested in slowing down Trae Young, I would love to hear the name because I don't see it on the entire roster. So if Trae Young is going to be able to move around and do whatever he wants, that's success offensively for the Atlanta Hawks coming off of a game I believe they gave away against the Bulls, 125 plus here against the Nets in Brooklyn.
No pushback here, but one thing that I think we might have to change our approach on is the way we view this Chicago Bulls team, at least early on in the season. Joe was asking me before we went live to give me my state of the union on the Orlando Magic and what's wrong. And while I could go on for a while about what is wrong with them, one of the things that I think gets lost in the shuffle when good teams lose to teams that you feel like they're supposed to beat is sometimes those teams are just better than we give them credit for. Chicago has looked really good against everyone they have played this season. And we're still so early on in the season. This could very well be a fluke, but what I have seen is some really good basketball being played out there. So I don't want to call losing to the Bulls a bad loss.
No, but what I'm saying, if you watched it front to back, Atlanta was dominating the game and then gave it away late. Not that it was a bad overall loss. They didn't close the game like they should have, and they should have won that game. That's all I'm saying.
Just like a game flow loss.
Yeah, they just were in position to win it and just couldn't close. Yeah, the Bulls are a little interesting because they have, I want to say, in every win this year, which is they're undefeated, is they've had like 7 guys, six or 7 guys plus in double figures. They had 8 guys in double figures against Atlanta.
Yeah. So
they're getting help from everywhere in all places. So yeah, they're a little bit of an interesting squad at the moment. The trade, like if you would have told me the Trae Jones, Josh Giddey thing would have been a good idea to start, I wouldn't have really understood, but it's been working so far to start the year.
Yep. Shout out to Billy Donovan, early candidate for Coach of the Year. All right, Joe, what about you for your 2-star play? My
My
dog's
two
checking in too.
my 2-star play is Drew Holiday over 24.5 PRA. He's hit this in all 4 games this season. He's playing like real minutes for this Portland Trailblazers team. And I think the thing that's notable here for me with Drew Holiday, when he was playing in Boston, there would be some games where he shot the ball 20 times, and there were other games where he shot the ball 2 times. The one thing that's kind of been consistent here is actually his shooting volume, which has been a little surprising to me, but he's taken 15, 14, 12, and 15 shots in these 4 games. He's getting plenty of opportunities to shoot and score the basketball, to run this offense, and he's been extremely effective in doing so, averaging 17.8 points, 5.5 rebounds, and 7.8 assists. And then I think this is a great matchup against the Utah Jazz, who are allowing the most assists to point guards and the second most assists overall on a per game basis. They have right now the worst adjusted defensive rating, or second worst adjusted defensive rating in the league. And then their offense is also second worst. So I think that this is a spot where there's going to be a lot of rebounds to clean up, and Drew Holiday is going to be able to take advantage. Especially with, I think Klingon and Kessler are going to probably try almost cancel each other out in terms of boxing each other out. So I think there are going to be some extra rebounds for the guards. And then in terms of pace, Portland's playing at the 7th fastest pace in the league. Utah's at 25th. I think that there's a much better probability of Portland being able to speed Utah up than Utah being able to slow Portland down, which should help to maybe increase some of the possessions here, give us some more opportunities. So I like Drew Holiday over 24.5 PRA.
Yeah, this one should be wide open. I really like watching this Portland team play, and it's not just because of the drama and strife that they're dealing with, losing their head coach to jail. But this Portland Trailblazers
He's
team,
out, man. He posted bail, baby. He's at the crib, man.
Yeah,
I mean, they still lost him to jail.
It came in clutch.
It's not like, hey, Chauncey, you're out. Come on back. This Trailblazers team was one of my favorite bets at the end of last year, and it's kind of made its way into this season. The Utah Jazz, a little bit scrappy. They're plus 1.5, by the way, in this game. So market giving a little bit of love to Utah. My 2-star play, Pacers Mavericks under 227.5. I think if you look at this one on the surface, you would just immediately think over, because that's what the Pacers have been for the last year. But this is not your uncle's Pacers. They are struggling to find offense. They're struggling to find pace. They're 17th in the NBA in terms of their pace of play, 20th in the league in just straight up points per game scoring. Dallas, by the way, 30th. If you go schedule adjusted for both, they're both in the bottom 10. Points per 100 possessions. Both teams are in the bottom 3 right now, early on in the season. They both have at least 1 day of rest, so the defensive effort will be there. I always worry about that on a back-to-back. These guys just go, never mind. We'll just play offense tonight. But that should not be the case in this one, so I'm going to go under 227.5.
Yeah, no Benedict Mathurin, no TJ McConnell, no Andrew Nembhard. They're already all ruled out. No Obi Toppin. I mean,
they're a mess.
It's a mess in Indianapolis at the moment. And even though they're going to be missing that injury, keep an eye on that injury report, because Derek Lively's doubtful. Gafford is doubtful. Anthony Davis is probable. But we know how that shit can flip in the middle of the night or in the morning after a cup of coffee. Next thing you know, Ant's not feeling as good. So keep an eye on that injury report. But yeah, I mean, the under this, if Ant goes, this seems like a spot where they're only going to have to slow up a few guys on the Pacers, and it could trend towards the under.
This could be like a Cooper Flag breakout type of game, just because Indiana's kind of running themselves ragged here, and this could be, if Dallas does sit a couple guys or a couple guys can't play, this could maybe be the game where he gets a little bit of a softer matchup. It's not the end of the world that he isn't as comfortable playing and running points. So something I would definitely look out for.
That feels like that would trend towards my side of the action too, because it's not like, if you have somebody of his size running point,
Yeah.
you're probably going to do it more slowly than, I mean, he's got athleticism, but still, especially with a guy of his age, it's hard saying that about Cooper Flagg because he is wise beyond his years. But if they're going to turn the keys over to him, I don't think that this game's going to. We're not going to see these two teams flying up and down the court. Let's go to our 1-star play. I'll get us kick-started here. I like this idea, first of all. So credit to Matt Moore for putting this into our buckets rundown on the daily, because the 1-star allows me to just think. I just grab low-hanging fruit. This has become my strategy for the 1-stars. Zach LaVine revenge game. The Bulls will let you get up and down the court on them. LaVine has scored 30 plus in every game this season where he wasn't facing Oklahoma City. And even in that game, he went over 21.5. Oddly enough, though, just to tell the full story, he played Chicago one time last year after the trade. He only scored 8 points in that game. Usage was dreadfully low. So take that for what it's worth. But LaVine has been hot. This is not so much about the fact that he used to play in Chicago, and more so that LaVine has been lights out so far this year. So I'll go over 21.5.
It's tough to have a revenge game when the whole squad's having a revenge game. You know what I mean?
I wasn't sure if I should go DeRozan. Yeah.
Herder's having a revenge game. DeRozan's got a revenge game.
You know what? Just take the Kings. All right, Sean, what do you got?
1-star, Magic Pistons under 226.5. Get the best number you can, of course. This just seems like to me that both of these squads kind of get back to their roots and what they're based and what they've had success over the last couple of years, especially Orlando. Orlando has a couple games this year where they gave up 120 plus. They gave up 121 in game one, the Heat. They got a W there, but then they've lost 3 straight. And then they're coming off a game against Philly where they gave up 136. So now they have to go to Detroit. I think this is just a grit back to our roots. Our identity as a squad is to just play better defense and slow the game down a little bit, even though I know we're trying to, we add offensive players and we're still trying to get that sorted. I think they go back to slowing it up a little bit and just focusing on defense. And then Detroit is already top 10 in defense at the moment to start the year. They're at home. I think this is just going to be a slugfest overall. Scoring is going to be tough to come by. So under 226.5 for me on the 1-star.
Yeah, I hope that you're right, because in watching these games as closely as I do, it is beyond frustrating. I can say I like the fact that they attempted to try to find some semblance of offense, modern offense in today's NBA. It's not how this team is built. They're not going to win games like that. My concern, Sean, is that a coaching staff is going to be stubborn. If they've decided they're going to play with pace, are they really going to abandon that 4 games into the season? I find that hard to believe, but you're right, and that's the decision that should be made, because it's obvious that this isn't working. Too many turnovers, a lack of chemistry. They still don't have a natural point guard. Paolo looks out of whack. And on top of it, because they're playing so up-tempo on offense, now their defense is taking a hit too, and that is unacceptable for a team that has to be – their bread has to be buttered on their defense. So you are right in what they should do, and eventually it will happen, but does it happen on Wednesday? That's my only concern with that. I'm also spooked betting anything with the Magic because I've lost a lot of money on them the last couple of days. All right, Joe, what about you?
My 3-star play is Amen Thompson over 11.5 rebounds plus assists. Part of why I like this is they're playing the Toronto Raptors. Jakob Poeltl is listed as doubtful. Even from Toronto's perspective, without him, they're going to be like kind of undersized. Maybe we see Mogbo play some center. I love Mogbo, but they're getting real thin against this Rockets team that is just like a bunch of mountains getting out there to play. So I think this is a good opportunity, especially when we look at this and Toronto's playing at the 3rd fastest pace in the NBA. Houston's playing at the slowest pace in the league. So I mean, this is about as much of a pace up opportunity as we can get for the Houston Rockets. So 11.5. I like the spot. He just went over it really for the first time this season against Brooklyn, where he had 12 RA, but he struggled a little bit. But the prior two matchups were Oklahoma City and the Detroit Pistons, where, they were Detroit just had him in hell. They were basically blitzing him and picking him up the entire length of the court and forcing the ball out of his hands. And you know how you can do that a little bit easier? When your twin brother is on the other side of that. So you have the perfect player to guard him. So I think that this is a better spot for him against the Toronto Raptors. So I'll be looking to grab the over 11.5 rebounds plus assists for Amen Thompson.
Yeah, hard not to like an Amen Thompson prop. He has looked so good early on this season. We got him in the bag. We got Cavs. I have Cavs -3.5 as my 3-star play of the night. Pacers, Mavs under 227.5 2-star play. Zach LaVine over 21.5 points. Pick your favorite Sacramento King for the revenge game against Chicago, or the whole team for that matter. Joe Dellera has Donovan Mitchell over 27.5 points in the same game against those weirdo Boston Celtics. Drew Holiday over 24.5 PRA. Amen Thompson over 11.5 rebounds and assists. Sean Little on the Minnesota Timberwolves. That's sitting at 6.5 right now as we speak against the Lakers. The Atlanta Hawks over 122.5 as their team total against the Brooklyn Nets, and the under in the fist fight in Detroit. That is the Detroit Pistons and my Orlando Magic. Don't forget to sign up for Action Pro for real-time pick alerts from experts like Brandon Anderson, this guy right here, Joe Dellera, and myself, our entire Action Network team. You can find it all right there. Plus, you can access our pro projections powered by Sean Kerner and our predictive analytics team. Just go to actionnetwork.com/pro. Get $20 off the annual price with the promo code Buckets20. That's promo code Buckets20. So don't miss out. The best bets, the best prices, all found at actionnetwork.com/pro, and use the promo code Buckets20 to get $20 off of your Action Pro subscription. Before we get out of here, it is time for our DraftKings special segment where every Wednesday, DraftKings brings you the big guns with their, our coworker. I don't know that he knows this, but Shaq and I work together thanks to his partnership with Playmaker. And for today's Shaq Pack, what is offered to use profit boosts on players that get a double-double on Wednesday's slate. So we're going to go around the horn here real quick on the guys that we think can land us that double-double. Guys, I know that I said I was spooked on the Orlando Magic, but come on. I'm the Magic guy on this podcast, so I got to give you a Magic play. Paolo Banchero, he's going to get you at least double-digit points. 2 games of the 4 played so far. He's also delivered on double-digit rebounds. The assists could be there as well. Always in play for P5. An inspired effort against the Pistons. I'll go Paolo Banchero double-double. Joe?
I'm going to be on Ja Morant double-double. We've seen his assists increase each game from 3 to 6 to 8 to 9. This is a great matchup against the Phoenix Suns. I think that he is going to be able to dominate this matchup from start to finish, and they are allowing really the 4th most assists per game to point guards and the 5th most overall in the NBA right now. I think it's an excellent spot for Morant, so I'm going to be backing him on a double-double.
What you got, Sean?
Trae Young, I think he's going to be able to do whatever he wants in Brooklyn against the Nets. I talked about the team total. I like that over. I think he's going to be able to pull the strings. It might be kind of expensive, so maybe tie it up with something else. I don't have a number in front of me just because it's not released as we record this Tuesday night. But Trae Young double-double, I like over. I would like to see an assist number. Joe, what would it be around? 9.5?
He's been like a 10.5 guy lately.
10.5? Yeah.
So, I mean, this is going to be pricey, but I mean, if we're putting them all together, then, double-double for Trae is like, I think this is free 99 against the Nets.
Tie him up. I think this is a good spot for him, even to juice up a spot that you like. So, yeah, give me Trae Young on a double-double. He goes crazy in Brooklyn.
Joe, who was yours again? I neglected to write this down. I have the memory of a squirrel. John Morant, that's right.
John Morant, yeah.
All right, you guys going with the point guards. I'm going with the point forward here. Paolo Banchero, John Morant, P5, and Trae Young. That is our Shack Pack of the night. Gentlemen, phenomenal stuff. I hope that all of our bets get home properly and safely. Call an Uber if you need to. If you want to instantly tail any of the bets that we've discussed on this episode, you can find the quick slip in the podcast or YouTube video description. Also, just go to Action Network, give us a follow, and you can see all of our plays as they come in real time. Shout out to our producer, David Payne, Matt Moore on graphics. This guy doesn't sleep. And to our sponsor, DraftKings. That's a wrap for tonight's episode. Best of luck to you all. Thanks for tuning in. Let's get buckets.
Hillbilly Kobe.